I think in the same way that we saw innovations in high tech, and whether it was an Apple or Microsoft or Facebook or others out there that transformed and improved the American economy, we can do the same thing. But to do that, it means we've got to transform how we think about jobs and how we think about education. That's part of what we're trying to do in this next budget.
Is there any way to incentivize small business owners to add additional jobs or to do that additional training?
And I was wondering whether there was any possibility that Wisconsin could become the first state to implement an SBIR program.
A lot of companies aren't willing to take somebody with no experience. Right. Is there like some incentives you could give companies to like take the chance on?
And I wanted to see what your position or opinion was on the state-funded venture capital bill.
Yes. What can be offered as incentives to bring more manufacturing companies into the state of Wisconsin?
In terms of attracting and keeping our economy going to where it needs to go to and creating the jobs you're talking about, you have to attract senior talent in the organization.
One of the things that WEDC could do is advertise in Silicon Valley and Boston and so on.
With the recent development in the state of Michigan with the right to work, kind of wondering, is Wisconsin looking at following the same pattern?
What do you think the prospects are for getting a venture capital bill passed? And secondly, what do you think the prospects are for getting a mining bill passed?
And they were very helpful for us up in Marinette with the LCS program. So Governor, thank you for WEDC and establishing that for us.
Merle Greer, I'm with Services and Sales. My question is concerning job creation, job growth. What's your strategy for attracting new businesses into the state of Wisconsin?
Yeah, good question. We got a couple different strategies, all kind of aligned together, but we have a strategy about bringing new ones in, whether it's from adjoining states or other parts of the region of the country or even other places around the globe. But we also, just so it's clear, and I'll tell you that in a second, but so it's clear, our primary focus on job growth is organic. When I was in college, I paid for college by selling warranty agreements for IBM. And my old adage that I got from my boss was spend 3/4 of your time with the people you already sell to, because they're the ones that know you, they know IBM, they know your business. They're the ones you're most likely to sell more to because they've already made a commitment. Spend about 1/4 of your time trying to find new customers. And so my belief is very similar with business, is I believe that most of our growth is going to either come from existing businesses or it's going to come through new startups, people who have new ideas that either come out of our universities or they come out of a companies like this and somebody says, oh, I've been working here for years, I got an idea. I just had a company the other day that we did one of these at. The guy worked for about 18 years at Plexus in the Fox Valley, and then he had an idea to serve a niche that Plexus wasn't, but that he thought he could do. And so he went from a handful of employees to about 80 employees. That was organic. That was a new idea that came out. So I want to encourage that. We want to do more to help startups and small businesses grow into mid-sized businesses and others. That's where our focal point is in trying to put incentives out there and ways for them to do that. In terms of tracking them from other states, we do marketing. In fact, probably shortly after the start of the year, I'll go into the Twin Cities, just as I've done in Chicago, and try and meet with employers, particularly depending on what happens in the legislature there. And in Illinois, it's been a pretty good sell because last year in Springfield, they raised taxes 67% on individuals, 46% on businesses. Instead of things getting better a year later, their budget's a mess. They're talking about shutting 14 facilities down. They're laying off thousands of public employees. Their pension system's the worst funded in the country, and their bond rating's now the lowest. That's a pretty good contrast for me to say, well, we didn't lay off massive numbers of employees. Our tax burden overall went down in the state. Our property taxes went down for the first time in 12 years on a median value home. My pension system's the only fully funded in the country, and my bond ratings credit's positive. One of the things we love telling them is that our rankings have improved. We used to be in the bottom 10 on the CEO magazine ranking. We moved up to 20 this year, one of the fastest increases in the country. Moved up to 17 on CNBC's ranking. We broke the top 25 for the first time in about 14 years. And Site Selector magazine, we're number 13. We love telling them those stories, but in the end, most of our growth is going to come organically. So I'll do this one last.